The note arrived taped to my hand-painted egg stand at 6 a.m., screaming in bold, red Comic Sans, "Cease and desist. Illegal food sales are prohibited." I crumpled the paper, a bitter taste of déjà vu settling on my tongue, certain that Brenda from across the street was finally making her move, but nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the sickening sight of a black and white patrol car pulling up to my curb an hour later. Wait, she actually called the police? Was this seriously happening over 3 dozen farm-fresh eggs? I watched the patrol car's reflection ripple in the dewdrops clinging to the plastic egg cartons, feeling my meticulously crafted Saturday morning piece shatter into 1,000 jagged pieces. The air hung heavy and sweet with the smell of my neighbor's honeysuckle and the rich, earthy scent of hay from the coop behind the garage. It was the scent of home, and now it was tainted by the metallic, sterile smell of official enforcement. I took a deep, shaky breath, trying to steady the frantic thumping in my chest. It felt like my heart was trying to claw its way out. I walked toward the driveway, my bare feet silent on the warm asphalt, as a tall, imposing officer with a carefully trimmed mustache stepped out. He looked tired, maybe even a little embarrassed. His name tag read, Officer Diaz. "Ma'am," he started, his voice a low, gravelly rumble that suggested he'd seen things far worse than a few chickens. "I'm responding to a complaint regarding illegal commercial activity and animal husbandry violations." His eyes flickered toward the colorful little sign that read Ilara's Girls $6 per dozen, and then to the small, cheerful clucking noises emanating from the backyard. I could feel the heat rising in my face, a frustrating flush of indignation. "Officer," I said, trying to keep my voice even and calm, though the tremor in my hands was undeniable. "I'm Ilara. This isn't a commercial enterprise. I have 6 backyard hens. They're pets. I sell their excess eggs to pay for their gourmet feed. It's cottage food, locally sourced, completely legal under state law, well below any required threshold." Did I really just recite food code to a police officer? It sounded pathetic even to my own ears. He remained impassive, arms crossed, the sun catching the reflective stripes on his uniform, a silent, intimidating barrier. Then the siren's call. "Well, finally!" Brenda's voice sliced through the humid morning air, high-pitched and grating, like fingernails on a chalkboard. She strode across the street from her perfectly manicured lawn. Her pastel athletic were looking crisp and unbothered, her expression a mask of righteous fury. "Officer, you need to shut this down immediately. This is breaching the neighborhood covenants. It's unsanitary, and the constant noise is destroying my property value." She punctuated the word noise by pointing dramatically toward my backyard. My sweet, quiet Rhode Island reds were, at that very moment, emitting the gentle, contented murmuring of hens enjoying a dust bath. Noise? Was she listening to the same street I was? Brenda didn't pause for air. She launched into a detailed, breathless monologue about the specific clause in the Homeowners Association agreement she had highlighted. Clause 4, Section B, subsection 7, the one she had been harassing me about for months. "She doesn't have a permit, officer. That cash jar is tax evasion. And I saw a single fly, land on that sign this morning. It's a health code violation, plain and simple. I demand you issue a citation and confiscate the evidence." Her eyes, narrowed to slits, darted between me and the officer, waiting for the swift, crushing justice she felt entitled to. She smelled faintly of expensive lavender and pure, unadulterated entitlement. Officer Diaz didn't look at her. He didn't interrupt her. He just let her wind down, the silence afterward feeling vast and awkward. He then slowly uncrossed his arms and sighed. A long, heavy, almost theatrical huff, the sound of pure administrative exhaustion. His eyes finally drifted toward the egg stand, and something in his professional demeanor softened. He walked closer, not toward me, but toward the dozen brown and speckled eggs resting inside the cardboard cartons. He leaned down slightly, taking a deliberate sniff. "These look beautiful, Ilara," he commented, his voice losing its formal edge. "The yolks are probably bright orange, aren't they?" My jaw dropped slightly. "Why, yes, sir. My girls eat a lot of marigolds and herbs. My wife grew up on a farm, he mused, reaching into his pocket for his wallet, completely ignoring Brenda's sputtering noise behind him. It's impossible to find eggs that taste like this anymore. How much are they again? $6, officer. He pulled out a $10 bill and placed it in the cash jar. I'll take a dozen. Keep the change, Alara. Consider it a tip for the best-looking eggs I've seen all year. He picked up a carton, holding it carefully, almost reverently. Brenda's face was turning a spectacular shade of crimson, a physical manifestation of her indignation. She looked like a cartoon villain whose evil plan had just been thwarted by a rubber chicken. "Officer!" she shrieked, finally finding her voice. "You cannot be serious. You are aiding and abetting. I called you here to enforce the law, not to shop." Officer Diaz slowly turned to face Brenda, the carton of fresh eggs cradled safely in his left arm. The cinematic moment hung in the air. The scent of lavender and hay, the quiet hum of the suburban morning, and the heavy tension of the confrontation. He pulled a notepad out of his breast pocket, his pen poised. "Actually, Brenda," he said, the use of her first name a chillingly intimate sign of the shift in power. "I am here to enforce the law. I've determined that Ms. Alara is operating within the guidelines of the Cottage Food Operation Law and the Municipal Code for Non-Commercial Animal Raising." He paused, his gaze locking onto hers. "However, I am also here to address a misuse of the emergency system. We have multiple calls pending for actual emergencies, and you deliberately and falsely reported a non-emergency situation as a crime in progress to force a non-police-related homeowners association dispute." Brenda stammered, "But the health hazard, the permits. The only hazard here, ma'am, is the drain on public resources. Filing a false report or non-emergency report that requires dispatching an officer under false pretenses is a violation of City Ordinance 4.1a, disturbing the peace and wasting police time." He scratched something onto his pad. "The fine for this offense is $300. He tore off the citation and handed it to the now paralyzed Brenda. Her mouth worked soundlessly, the carefully constructed edifice of her self-importance crumbling before our eyes. The shock, the injustice she suddenly felt, was palpable. He tipped his head slightly toward me, gave a small, genuine smile, and walked back to his patrol car, his 12 perfect brown eggs secure on the passenger seat. As he drove away, the only sound was the distant, cheerful cluck of my happy hens, and the choked, miserable gasp of a Karen who had finally, epically, been hoisted by her own petard. I looked at the $10 bill, then at the sputtering woman across the street, and felt a rush of pure, sweet justice. In that moment, the eggs tasted like victory, and the lesson was clear. Sometimes, the best defense against pettiness is simply maintaining your grace and letting the law deliver the karma.